participate in this lovely sport. We here now.
If you on that hit squad, then hit hard. Bogart and take charge. If you got accuracy to beat the QB, then let me see you throw it deep.
Gather around, school brothers and sisters. This is Under the Lights with Justin and Dave. Purple and gold for days of Minnesota Sports Talk. Thanks for joining us.
Yo.
Let's get the shout outs going. How about let's go with Gary. What's going on, Gary?
Papa Gary, what's up?
All right, Skull Mafia's in the house. Let's get it. David Chains, let's do it. We got Dr. Proto. What is your area of medicine? What's your area of expertise, Dr. Proto?
His areas of expertise
is it turning around a season? Is that your area of expertise? Let's go. We got Skolden. What's going on? My worthless opinion. What about worthless opinion, Justin? You say it.
Oh, well, I'll say it for both of them. So it's a house call. He's a doctor of house calls. He makes a house call with us all the time. That's Dr. Proto. But my worthless opinion, the single greatest YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace,
TikTok,
any TikTok, handle of all time, because your opinion is rarely, if ever, worthless, especially on Under the Lights.
Norpheus, what's going on, man? Ryan Peterson's in the house. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, you know what? You know what you guys could do? You can.
Oh yeah.
You could do something like help me Hulk smash the YouTube algorithm. But hey, if you're watching it on my channel or Justin's channel, make sure you hit the like button. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? While you're at it, you can ring the bell, turn on those notifications. Let's go. I gotta turn off the repeat. All right, man. This was a long week for me. What's that?
This your first rodeo?
I don't know why it defaults to the repeat. I just forget it defaults.
I think actually I will say this, and then we'll actually, start talking Vikings or NFL or whatever else we're going to talk about tonight. I think there was an update recently done because it didn't used to do that, and then I've noticed that in like the last week or so. I'm like, why does this thing keep repeating? But who the heck knows? Shout out.
Can't have enough Daves in the house. Let's go.
We got Dave from Vikings First and Skull. Give a shout out and a subscribe to their podcast feed on YouTube. On Apple, Spotify, and wherever.
2 in a row, 2 Daves in a row, man. I don't know about that.
There you go. What's up, Dibido? How's it going? Kofi in the building. What's up, Kofi? Good to see you. And our guy Tony Bell. What's going on, Tony? I'm still cracking up of that show that we did. Well, that you guys did that I sat in on. For a minute or two, where all the blood was flowing, all of the anger and the disappointment. What are we gonna do, ladies and gentlemen? Are we really that bad at 0-3? Are we really just a couple of plays here and there where we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, or is it somewhere in the middle? Put it in the chat. Are we really that bad, or can we get this thing turned around? Because I'm candidly not sure. What do you think, Dave?
Just looking at it, playing any sport, basketball, baseball, football, any team sport, it's if you turn the ball over, you fumble the ball, you throw a turnover in a basketball game or give them an extra out, you lose games, and
right.
It starts there, and for me ends there. And that's where we would be minimum 2-1, I think, and if not 3-1, if we cut out a turnover from each game or 2 from Philly or whatever. If Hawkinson goes down and doesn't fumble it, or receivers, it gets hit in the hands, the ball pops in the air, whatever, any turnover. Or the sack fumbles or or Madison or whatever, or catch the ball, or throw it to the open receiver. There's so many different plays you could pick out of each game that would change the tide every single game. It could be easily 3-0 right now, and that is the most painful part. I know people talk about I'd rather have a blowout
Well,
than this, and
take a W
you almost feel like you would,
At this point, you take a victory any way you can get. Shout out JJ in the building. What's up, nephew? Good to see you. Frozen North, shout out to you as well. Thank you kindly as always for stopping by. We appreciate all y'all. And Kofi says we are not that bad. We are just out coached. Tony says we are that bad. Too many holes on both sides of the ball, and coaching management is big. Well, so they agree on the coach part anyway. I will say this. I think that even if we were 3-0 because we didn't have all of these turnovers, I don't know that we would be a very good team. I think we kind of like last year. We were a third. Shout out Northface in the building with the $5 super chat. What's going on? Appreciate you. Appreciate you. But
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie. There you go.
Straight cash, homie.
So on one hand, I'm trying to say, okay, if we cut down this and we cut down that, and even if we were 2-1, we'd still be saying, well, we got a lot of holes and we got away with stuff. So I don't know. I do think we're going to win this week in Carolina. Spoiler alert. If we were going to save picks to the end, I don't know. But yeah, I was going to bring that up, Davey. That was a good comment that you had on my video, on my live last night. So thanks for putting it in the chat that this is turning into a Jerry Burns, Mike Lynn fight. I don't know if we're quite to that level yet. You've got a second-year head coach and a second-year general manager, both of them doing it for the first time. So I don't know that I'd quite put it to that level as of yet, but I see where you're going with it. For you youngins in the house, Jerry Burns and Mike Lynn go back to the 80s. So if you weren't around in the 80s, you don't get the reference. But I think the biggest issue right now is Kevin O'Connell. And I say that in the context of we can talk about the offensive line. We can talk about the turnovers, whether it be Madison, whether it be TJ Hawkinson or KJ Osborne or Kirk Cousins and the defense. This team is always being unprepared. They were unprepared against Tampa, relatively unprepared against Philly, and unprepared last week as well. You went on Amazon and bought a bunch of, the Tom Pelissero had one of them prior to the game. It's like, what, you got a bunch of pitchforks that you're going to have double as your s'more builders for a campfire? Hell, we're just hitting guys randomly throughout the day to make them think about not fumbling. It's like, that is football 101. If you're 3 weeks into the season and you got to buy stuff off Amazon to try to help guys not fumble the football, then that means you didn't do your job preparing them during training camp. So to me, along with the preparedness level, the undisciplinedness, the straight up chaos, I put number one as O'Connell. I mean, as Kofi just put in there, they're not adjusting to anything right now. After 3 weeks, it's the same crap.
Not to disagree with you at all. The head coach, I have my particular feelings about that may or may not be negative, depending on what the thing is. Mine being player personnel decisions, putting the best player on the field, sitting someone who fumbles. That's where it starts with me. It's hard to argue with the third highest ranked offense in the league. It's hard to argue with that. The coaching when it comes to fumbles, these guys aren't Pop Warner. Most of these were on the team last year, and we had the third least turnovers last year. Did Kevin O'Connell all of a sudden become bad at coaching? I don't know. It's hard for me to put turnovers on anybody but the man who did it. You know what I'm saying? You don't, when you're a running back, you don't all of a sudden forget that, hey, when you're going to the ground, you're the most vulnerable. Or a tight end or whoever, that if you're wrapped up, they're going to go for the ball. Especially after we've already turned the ball over, right? So for me, I'm going to go straight to the guys that did it. I will put the onus on the coach for saying, hey, set an example. You got a decent running back behind your starter. In fact, I think he's going to be great. put him in there half the plays. You don't have to bench him, but put him in there. Set a tone. Hell, put someone else on goal line. Other than TJ Hawkinson. Put Josh Oliver in there. I don't know. You're not going to be in this series. You're going to sit down the series. And we're going to go with Hawkins, or we're going to go with Josh Oliver is going to have a go at it. And then put them back in the game, and they got the message, and then everybody else got the message, and that's how I feel. Just tough decisions like that. And it goes back to not firing Ed Donatel at the break.
Mhm.
It just that's for me, but it's really hard to say. Yeah, we're a little bit sloppy, but God, remove 3 turnovers from the season, and could be 3-0, and we're still a negative turnover. We're still in the negative on turnovers, but we'd be talking about, hey, we got to clean this up a bit. Hey, we made it. We're 3-0, but no, we're the opposite right now. And
well, Madden said it the best: winning's a great deodorant.
But it is.
To your point about what do you say, number 3 ranked offense? You talking about total yards? You talking about points? What was
my other complaint is creativity in the red zone.
Well, yeah, I was getting there. The red zone is
playing, but yards wise, we're moving the ball 475 yards in the last game. When we come out, it seems like it's adjustments I have a problem with. I have this problem with having a high powered offense and nickel and diamond first and second down to get a 4 yards for a third down type thing. I want those 2 scores we came back, we were throwing the ball down the field. Like we were throwing it deep down the field, first, second, whatever down. Didn't matter. We're down, 21-10, right? And then we come back. We're not nickel and diming it, right? We boom down the field. Do that coming out of the half. Do it coming out of the half.
Do it start of the game. Me. How about that?
What? Be in the game too. Run 6 times or whatever. Yeah.
Well, the one thing that Dennis Green's adage was I don't care where somebody ranks, that figure out a way in a computer to say, okay, here's the rankings in total yards, but here's the rankings in total yards if you remove the yardage gain on a drive that ended in a turnover, an interception and fumble in particular, not necessarily a turnover on downs. Because, yeah, if you start off at the 25 and you drive to the 25, you got 50 yards. But if you fumble it or there's an interception, okay, those yards just went into the ether. But I get your overall point. To me, it starts with O'Connell and it just permeates because, again, this team just looks disorganized. It just looks disorganized. And to your point, it is mind-boggling to me how the same team that at times can look so disorganized can also look as efficient as they do. In the game that you mentioned, you had 2 drives, the drives that ended with the KJ touchdown and the JJ touchdown. The drives in the second half against Philadelphia, the touchdown drive to Addison. As now, again, the ones in the fourth quarter, they still count. I'm not saying they're garbage, but was Philadelphia maybe a touch more relaxed knowing that they had control of the game? Maybe. But either way, my overall point is, how is it you can look that dominant, that efficient, and that well-oiled machine, and in the same time look as Keystone Cops as they have at times? And I get it. You're right. What did O'Connell do something different last year than he did this year to get the guys to not fumble or not have bad bounces that ended up being intercepted? No, probably not. But I don't know. At some point, like you said, he let Ed Donashell go for the entire season. He should have made the change after the New England game. I used to say after the Dallas game, and then I'm reminded that the New England game was 4 days later, and you weren't going to make a change going from a Sunday night game to a Thursday night. But yeah, post New England, he should have made a change, and he didn't. After week 1, he should have been making some changes, and he didn't. Now, again, after week 2, they finally signed Dalton Reisner. I don't know why Reisner didn't play. And as far as I'm concerned, Reisner better be starting on Sunday. Otherwise, what the heck was the point? What do you think about Reisner there?
Well, I mean, that's another point is that, hey, I'm in the preseason and I see the way my right guard's playing, and I'm probably going, hey, Kwesi, I need another right guard. or I need to recognize that Brandle's better than him right now, and like, okay, I'm gonna switch it. I need to wake this son of a bitch up because he's costing us. He's costing us big time.
Right.
What's crazy is that we're on Kirk's on pace to get hit more than he ever has, but he's 10th and getting sacked. And we're leading the league, and he's leading the league in passing. It's weird how that would be. Something good is happening there that we are avoiding a complete meltdown on offense if we're giving up so much pressure. Again, I always go back to Kirk will hold it to last second to deliver that ball to a conscious decision, and sometimes to his detriment. So yeah, a lot of the pressures are going to be on him. But I think I think it was what our Lieber saying crossface. Someone crosses your face, and gets the quarterback. Its edge just, turns his back to it just turns to go, and someone blitzes, whatever, all that kind of stuff. They're going to game plan for it the rest of the year. So it behooves me to tell you, O'Connell, that make the tough decisions. That, young coach, whatever. Make the tough decisions. Rams made one on Cam Akers, 22 for 29. And
I don't know if that was much of a tough decision at that.
We go get him, right? Yeah. Well, he was his last 3 games of the season the year before was 100 yards each, and one had 3 touchdowns. So he comes out first game, and you're like, that wasn't good enough. I'm going to trade him to my buddy in the Vikings who does not want to give Ty Chandler the ball.
Well, there's
it's like, you see Ty Chandler popping and almost breaking one, it's like, dude, let's get this guy the ball. It's like when Boobie Miles goes down, whatever the short dude's name was, they put in there instead, boom, he runs a kick return back for a touchdown. You know what I'm talking about? Friday Night Lights.
No idea. I've never
seen. You never saw the movie Friday Night Lights?
Oh, you talking about
Boobie Miles?
Oh god,
the running back.
It's been a long time. It has been a very long time. There was actually football in that game. I thought it was just whipped cream and stuff. But I digress.
That is a different movie.
What movie is that?
That's Blue.
That's Varsity Blues. You're right. Okay, so no, I've not seen Friday Night Lights.
You're not seen Friday Night Lights, man?
No.
And they made a TV show with.
I know. I'm not seeing
crazy. You haven't seen that.
All right. Anyway, let me get to some shout outs. We way behind. Skull for Life Barber in the building. Shout out Skull for Life Barber and Skull for Life Proper as well. Scoldger Soup is in the building. Rogers in the building. Thank you kindly for joining us. Appreciate the shout out. JJ saying those curmudgeon versus punk videos was fire. I appreciate you, nephew. I appreciate you. Let's see here. I thought there was one more. Did we get to? I'll shout you out either way. Davey Change. Justin, I have a theory. What about our clock man? Oh, yes, clock management. That was the other one I couldn't remember. No, the clock management is
pretty much every quarterback plugs their ear holes to hear the coach better.
Well, I'm talking in a general sense. Well,
this is Davey Chain's question.
Yeah, that's true. Shout out Mary in the building. Mary was disappointing watching my 12-year veteran. Bad decision should have never happened. No, he doesn't lose the game for us, but it was certainly very hard to watch. No, I mean, a lot of that game was very hard to watch. But everybody, shout out Mary. Good to see you here again. Keep your prayers going for Mary. She's still working through what she's working through here. So we wanted to say hello. Thanks for showing up tonight, Mary. We do appreciate you. And feel free to hit me up anytime if you have anything else that you need. But I mean, both at the end of the first half, which again, I'm not making too much out of because it was just like, all right, if you had spiked it, you would have had a shot at a 2% play in the Hail Mary, which, hey, Cousins got one to Rudolph there a couple years ago in Detroit. So it's not like it's absolutely impossible. But again, was the Keystone Cops at the end of the game the reason they lost the game? No, wasn't the reason they lost the game. But I will say it was an opportunity that they had that they might have given themselves a better shot than the one shot that they got. I get it. He's looking for the play. I'm just saying, to me, if you can't hear, then make the decision to say, you know what, I'm killing this first down play. Let's stop the clock. Let's give ourselves the 25 to 30 seconds to collectively catch our breaths. There was a more delicate way for him to say, "Yeah, I couldn't hear because the fans were cheering." Like read the room, Kirk. Read the room, KOC. Don't be yelling at your fans for being excited that you converted on 4th down to keep the game alive. But and I get it. That's not what they. You want to go with this. We were trying to catch the Chargers off guard. They were the worst ranked defense coming into the league. You shouldn't be, putting that as your end all be all. It's like, all right, I can't hear. Spike the ball, stop the clock, and get yourselves under control, which gets back to this team being out of control for me. No, again, it's not what cost us the game, and it's not the first thing you're going to look at. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I just didn't like the way he came out of the press when he was asked, "Hey, do you have the authority?" Well, yeah, I do, but there's consequences. It's like, come on, dude, take control. That's all I'm going to say.
I heard the same question. I heard the answer. Yes, I'm able to do anything I want, and I ran a play. My opinion is that, hey, should be coached that in this situation. I think it's better to spike it. That's not our philosophy. Apparently, it's to try to catch him off guard. Kirk didn't hear it. He called a play, and Kevin O'Connell says that's a similar play that I was going to call. We ran this concept before type shit, whatever. I'm saying go spike the ball. That's me. I'm going to spike the ball, but that's not apparently our team's philosophy, and that's silly. I don't know why. It catching someone off guard, moving down the field happens all the time. We want to keep that personnel on the field. Happens all the time. I don't think in that situation is the right thing to do. I do agree with Kevin O'Connell that the game didn't end at 0 after that play. We, with 7 seconds, possibly 8 or 9, because it was tipped up in the air, we have a chance at 2 more plays. So if you spike it, you have 3 plays: 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down. Cousins ran a play, 7 seconds left, possibly 8 or 9 if it doesn't get intercepted. We have 2 more plays left. Both scenarios, 3 plays.
Yeah, but in that
I don't
first,
feel like we lost out on anything. And
no, I'll tell you what you lost out on. You lost out of being under control and not feeling rushed.
Okay, so then you're not rushed on the next 2 plays. I get it. We're rushed. We ran a play. It hit Hawkinson in the hands and it popped up in the air. Very unfortunate occurrence. How often does that ball pop straight up in the air? It's crazy, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, it's not like it was this. Oh, wow.
People are acting like that was the last play. The clock would have ended. It was over. No, it was an interception from a freak pop-up, double doink pop-up catch. But I agree 100% with, I think, 99% of the fan base out there that it should be in our game plan to spike it there.
I don't see how you blame this loss. I don't know if you were talking to us or if you were talking to me or if you were talking in general. Well, shout out Andrew first off. I haven't seen you before, so first time shout out everybody. Give a shout out to Andrew in the chat.
I think in general he's saying I don't see how you can, not us in general. I doubt. Okay. I don't think anybody here was blaming Kirk for the loss, but as in general, it's in general. Hey, I can't see how anybody whatever.
Well, where I'm going with that is that when he's not his decision, he respects his coach. I'm like, yeah, there's a middle ground between. It's not disrespectful to your coach if you are not sure because you can't hear because it's loud because you just converted a 4th down to say, you know what, I'm going to take control of this. I'm going to spike it here. We still have 3 downs. Kevin O'Connell's not going to put him in timeout for making that sort of choice. At the end of it, it is what it is. We don't have any DeLoreans. We're not going back and changing anything. This team is 0-3, and they got to figure it out this weekend against Carolina because I think they should win. I think Carolina isn't anything special. They've already started there. Now, again, we'll most likely be facing Andy Dalton, and we all know how the Vikings do against backup quarterbacks. But last week was a must-win, and this week is most definitely a must-win. Do you agree, or do you think that there's still hope if they don't come out of this game with a victory?
I would say 0-4 is absolute mega disaster. I don't see how that could happen. Before I got like bombarded with your Kirk stand in my Monday show, I was talking about at the trade deadline, if what we're 1-5 or whatever, it behoove to try to figure out a way to Kirk to go to the right team that he's willing to waive his no trade clause. And the only way he's doing that is sign a long-term deal. Not a long-term deal, but you
And
know what
even
I'm
then,
saying,
that's still 50-50.
multi-year deal, right?
Yeah.
Even that would be the only way he would go anywhere, and it's not going to be the Jets. Jets aren't going to get. It's not going to happen.
No.
So, but
I wanted to get, oh, that's a good point.
and the Jets will be 1-5 too. You know,
Yeah.
it's like how are we? And it's like realistic. Randy was like, "Hey, bench Kirk Cousins on week 6 and say you're either going to be benched the rest of the year or accept a trade." What kind of message does that send to the team? Terrible message. Don't do that. I mean, you're going to try, you know,
it sends a message
bench your starting quarterback. No, players want to win. They want good tape. All the receivers want good tape. The tackles want to block for a guy that's got more experience and gets rid of the ball. You know, it's everybody wants better tape. They want to play with the best players on the field. That's a terrible message to send to try to say, hey, you're the best player at the position, but I'm gonna force you into a trade by benching you. That's not a good move. I don't think.
I don't think they would actually do that.
I know. It's just a silly exercise of like, how can we force Kirk to take a trade? No, you got to find. Hey, are you willing to? If we find you a good team, no. All right. We got to keep you. That's the only way I could think that would happen. Because one thing he's not going to do, he's not going to go to a part-time situation. You know, he's not gonna leave his family, you know, to go live in another state for 4 months. You know, it's just he's not gonna take him with him, you know, and uproot him. You know, it's just not gonna happen. I don't think.
Well, no, the only way you would get him to do this, and again, we're talking extreme
maybe Detroit.
hypotheticals.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know that Detroit would have any interest in doing that, but no, the only way you could do it is that you'd have to plant that, like, okay, I've made week 7 my arbitrary middle, because you've got 12 games before the bye. Your bye is in week 13. So I've said week 7 is my arbitrary spot, because that's after you face the 49ers and before you go on a 5-game stretch against the Packers, Falcons, Saints, Broncos, and Bears. If you're 2-5 or worse after the first 7 games, then, and again, you only have a week or so before the trade deadline. But
well, the reason 2-5 is still a possibility.
Possibility of what?
Now you're past San Francisco, right?
Right.
And you're 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
That's 10 games left.
Yeah.
If you looked at her schedule.
Yeah, I just said you have the Packers.
8-2 puts you at 10-7.
And what on this team would have displayed anything that would lead you to believe that
what on this team would have led what on the Lions team would have led you to believe that they would win 8 of their 9 last games, or the 1-7 Miami Dolphins go 9-8, win the last 8 of their 9 games under
you picked
Brian
out
Flores.
2 examples over how long a period of time. That just because it's happened doesn't mean it's likely.
Last year, and then with the same coach that's on our defense right now. I'm just saying, if you don't think this team, we lost 3 games. We just both agreed that the biggest main cause is turnovers,
right?
Despite everything else, is the biggest turnovers. And then we get through our toughest part of our schedule at 2-5. It's a complete impossibility for us to come back at 10-7 or even 9-8. I get it. I know we don't want to. I know we don't want to sneak into the playoffs and get the 6th seed and lose in the first round or whatever, but I'm just talking about that. That would be the way to the playoffs.
Okay, I'll retort with saying this. Yes, the 1999 Vikings, after starting out 2-4, went 8-2 with Jeff George to finish 10-6 and got a wild card spot, and ultimately beat an equally mediocre wild card team in the Dallas Cowboys that season. We're talking about second year Randy Moss, Hall of Famer Chris Carter, a couple of Hall of Famers on your offensive line, and the same team that just went 15-1 and lost in the NFC Championship game. Now, here's the other thing, though. If you are 2-5 and your victories are over a terrible winless Carolina team and possibly at that point in time a still winless Chicago Bears team,
So
aren't the other teams on our schedule saying the same thing? We're coming up to a soft part in our schedule because we're playing the Vikings, who are terrible.
what does it matter what they think? It only matters what we think. And should I not talk about on this show the potential or how to get to the playoffs?
Okay.
Should I eliminate that from the dialogue?
I'm saying if you are 2-5 at that point,
and you also brought up a season where there was 16 games and not 17.
Yeah,
right?
2-4 versus 2-5. So
and
10
what's
games,
our division?
10 games left in the season. Yes,
one of the weakest in the league, and the NFC known to be weaker. So there's potentially of getting the playoffs. It's not an impossibility.
Well, no, it's not an impossibility, but I don't know what. So as you said, what good does that do?
What's the problem with me talking about going to the playoffs or how to do it?
Nothing. I didn't say there was a problem.
Right,
I just said it was extremely highly most unlikely that
it's more difficult. Yeah, it's more difficult. But that is we knew that going in. What was the record you said we would have had at this point, right? 1-3 or 1-2?
After 3 games, no, I said 2-1. I said that we'd lose to Philly.
Someone had us 1-2 that we were also going to lose the Chargers. I can't remember who that was.
That was not me.
One of it was you.
No, I figured after the mini bye week after Philly, I said it would be a close game, and I said that, the advantage would go to us being it's in our building and that we were coming off a mini bye.
But what if we don't go 2-5? What if we sneak one and we're 3-4?
I don't know what's more unlikely, that we sneak one against Kansas City or San Francisco, or that we go 8-2 in the back end of the schedule. But okay, yes. I'll just say it like this. If you're 3-4 after 7 games.
Did we think Cardinals were going to beat Dallas?
You can come up with anomalies till we're blue in the face. I mean,
should we ignore anomalies?
Huh?
Should we ignore anomalies? Like, it's a distinct impossibility.
We shouldn't bet on them. I would say we shouldn't bet on them.
We're not. And I'm not. But it would be better for us if, hey, can we sneak one? Like we snuck one against the Bills. We can sneak one against this team. It's just
All right, tell me how we're going to sneak one against Kansas City or San Francisco then.
In some point this year, we're going to beat a team that we weren't expected to beat. Right?
Theoretically, that is possible, yes. Just like last year. Although, again, last year going to Buffalo, you're right. That was a game that we snuck. But at the same time, we snuck it based on the Vikings on paper at the beginning of the year versus the Bills on paper at the beginning of the year. By the time we actually got to Buffalo, we were 7-1.
We were down like 17 points at one point.
That is true.
We snuck that game.
All right, fine.
And it was a lot to do with big plays.
But
by Dalvin Cook. So put Ty Chandler in there.
Okay. Well, that's a whole nother conversation as to,
we've ignored the chat for a while. I thought you were taking over.
Well, I had a couple of stars. I was actually going to get back to a point that Kofi had made a while back, but we'll get back to that there. Well, I guess what I'm saying is no. At 2-5, I'm willing to start selling. I'm willing to say, hey,
Strictly Football's in the house.
What's going on?
What's up, man? He was our guest
last
week.
That's a very good point too. All right, fine. So if you want to say, what if we're 3-4 after 7 games? Okay, what if we're 1-6? What if we lose to Carolina or Chicago? You still going to say, hey, yeah, we can go 8-2 and get to 9-8?
You're saying talking about 0-7, right?
No, I'm saying instead of being the premise of this conversation was if we are 2-5, that you think we could go 8-2 on the back end of the schedule. Okay,
or 7-3 because it.
All right, so what if instead of being 2-5, what if we're 1-6? I'll flip it around.
I already talked about that scenario, trying to trade everybody.
When did you talk about that scenario?
I talked about trying to convince Kirk Cousins that waive his no trade clause. I would say Danielle Hunter is gone. I would probably do a business decision if I was Kwesi and say the season's over.
So then,
why are you trying to get me to say that I think at 0-8 we can turn this shit around? No,
No,
man.
that's
I'm
not what I'm
saying at
saying
two
at
and
all.
five.
What
I
I'm
say at
saying at all
I
is,
say at 2-5. That's the breaking point. And if we go at 2-6, I'm like, holy crap, we just blew everything. You know.
no, what I'm saying is that if after 7 games, if we're 2-5, I start selling. That's my thought process, because again, at 2-5, again, Atlanta's going to be saying, "Hey,
And
we
are
got
we
the
talking about the trade deadline? When was the trade deadline again?
That's, I thought it was after week 8. Let me let's look this up one more time just so that we can be somewhat accurate. Okay, so the trade deadline is October 31st. So it is the Tuesday after the Packers game. So it's the Tuesday after week 8. Yes. Okay. So yes, again, if you're 2-5, where I was going with this, because
So
it
now we
started
might
with,
be 3-5.
yeah, we might be if we go to Lambeau and win. Sure. And yes, either way, my point is we started this about what would it take to get Kirk Cousins traded, and what I was saying is that if you're 2-5 after week 7, you start putting feelers into his ear to say, "Hey, give us a list of teams that you would be willing to take a trade to." And if he says, "I'm not willing to take a trade to anybody," yeah, you're right. It would be a little distasteful if you went down the threaten to bench him and say, "Hey, we're not
I
playing
think
you
it would
anymore."
be a PR nightmare.
Would it?
Absolute devastating PR nightmare.
Would it though?
Yeah. I would think the NFLPA would be all over that shit. I think that it would just be the hottest topic every single talk show out there. I would think that it would be just the worst distasteful thing to experience as a player in the locker room. I don't know. You've been in the locker room, right?
No, I've never been in a locker room.
All right.
But here's where I was going before with Kofi's
you
comment.
like other guys on the team, man, and that you have friends on the team, and when you see and the room's divided, man, it. Do I want to be here? Starts to creep in, and we got some big names that we need to resign. What's up,
So,
Ricky Williams in the house, man?
what's up, Ricky? Shout out, Ricky. I was going to get to you in a minute.
Oh, good job, man. Oh, you know what you want? You need
Great
some
cash, homie.
Yeah, there you go. So, Kofi, put in the comments when I haven't been paying attention to ESPN because I generally don't unless it's something so outrageous. What have they been saying? Because the last I heard, ESPN has been wanting to get Kirk Cousins to the New York Jets in the worst possible way. So, I don't. Why would they be hating on him if they're trying to do that? So, help me understand. What did they say that they were hating on him? Do you know?
about the Jets were hating on Kirk Cousins?
No, I'm saying Kofi's comment was the Cousins haters are going off everywhere, including ESPN. And I was saying I thought ESPN was pumping him up to try to get him traded to the Jets. So I was asking Kofi to re-put in the comment section.
I mean, you're talking about like New York ESPN hosts that are like the Jets that are probably wanting him, but the rest of the commentary, I mean, it's never been good. There's only been a couple occasions that you see really positive stuff about Kirk. I don't know. You've been around, right? You've been seeing it.
I haven't seen much this season, but at the same time, I also don't look. But no, I agree with what Strictly Football says. They're not going to make moves. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face. The Vikings
I think the only move would be make sense. Would be the highest probability. Not make sense, but he also got KJ Osborne on the last year of his contract.
Yeah, KJ Osborne is on the list.
But
Hunter.
Who knows about
Cleveland.
getting a receiver late in the season or whatever and learning the playbook. A Danielle Hunter would be easier to trade for and be on the team. Probably the only
Harrison Smith, maybe.
Yeah. Probably. But then and I'm not going to go into it, but the thought of like, what the direction this team was going, we upped, Metellus, we upped TJ Hawkinson. We were trying to move Justin Jefferson. In the offseason, we offered a 1-year extension to Kirk. He wanted 2 or whatever situation. That the direction was that's the way we're going to go, and we're going to revisit in the offseason.
Right.
I don't know. If again the fumbles keep going, we finish 9-8 or 7-9, miss the playoffs, and Justin Jefferson blows off the record receiving, and Kirk Cousins sets every Vikings record, breaks every Vikings record this year, and comes close to leading the league in passing and touchdowns. You cannot tell me that they wouldn't even contemplate bringing him back.
Well, it would be a mistake. You can't
In your opinion, it might be my opinion. I don't know, but just be
salary cap by itself tells you it's a mistake. You can't afford to keep him. He's going to want at least $40 million. He's not taking anything less than what Daniel Jones got.
And then you don't do it.
So
he was taking a team-friendly reported deal in the offseason. But I'm just saying that.
But the point is,
to ignore that possibility, it would be just setting the I don't want Kirk anymore based to be disappointed, right? I'm just saying that it would be hard. It would be a hard story to swallow. And I know people think Justin Jefferson's just going to stay here no matter what, but a losing season. I don't know who my quarterback is next year. Do I really want to resign? Do I want an extension? Am I going to hold out? We all think that he's not going to hold out. I mean, all that. So all those things got to come into play. And for me, I used Miami as an example. Their coach was 1-7, and their ownership wanted to offer that guy $100,000 a year, Brian Flores, to lose games. What did he go and do? He won 8 of the last 9, and they finished 9-8, third in their division. And the next year, and then they fire him in the offseason. We know all the whole fiasco. He goes to the Steelers. They didn't tank. They didn't go for the next quarterback in the draft. They stuck with Tua, and I get Brian Flores didn't want to. He wanted somebody else. But they went and got him a weapon, and they didn't tank. They went with what they had and added people around them. And 2 years later, they're looking like the best team in the league right now.
Yeah,
so there's multiple ways of doing it.
Who is 28 or 24, isn't he?
I get the age, but they're playing pretty much very well, right? They're playing very well. Throw out the age.
Well, the age is part of the equation.
The Jefferson contract. Get me to that Justin Jefferson contract, whatever it takes. And if it's, hey, I don't want to set any more records with Kirk. I want to set more records with a new guy that I don't know his name. Then let's do it. But I'm just saying that's the conversation.
But here's the other side of that coin, Dave. If you re-sign Kirk for whatever number, you have to add $10 million to that number for his cap hit. If he signs for 40 for 1 year, his cap hit will be 50.
I understand that. They were willing to do that. They were willing to do that this offseason. I'm just saying, be prepared for the heartache of having to have 1 more year of Kirk. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll finish now. Whatever you sign Kirk to, you add 10 to. So if you signed him for 40, his cap hit is 50. JJ's cap hit is 20, assuming he doesn't assign an extension. TJ's cap hit is 14. Okay, that's 84 million of your 260 on 3 players. So if your thought process is, well, Justin Jefferson might not want to re-sign if Kirk Cousins is not extended for a year. If you do that, you're in the same problem you are, which is you cannot field a competitive team because you've got 3 guys taking up 20.
Are we fielding? I get it. I get the argument. No, I am aware of the argument. The people that think I don't get that is just out of their mind. I'm telling you, Justin, that get me to Justin Jefferson. If you're saying, well, we can't field a competitive team with Kirk next year. What is our team going to look like? Are we going to be competitive next year without him? Either way, you talked about it would be a transition period, and it might take a couple years, right, to get good again.
Right.
So don't use the excuse that next year we won't be able to field a competitive team with Kirk when we're not going to field a competitive team.
Okay, this is what you're missing, Dave. If you sign Kirk, you are guaranteed,
which they offered him, right?
Yes, they did, and they didn't come to an agreement for whatever reason.
Right.
Okay. Guess what? If you go with a cheap quarterback, you now have money to spend to try to develop the rest of your team that you won't have if you're giving Kirk 50.
How about we draft better?
That's a whole nother conversation of which we both agree with. But at the same time, to answer your question of what's the difference is option A, sign Kirk, get Justin Jefferson his extension, and now you have more holes on your team than you do right now. Option B, you don't sign Kirk. You let the chips fall where they may with a rookie quarterback or a younger quarterback, but now you have 50 more million to try to plug up some of the other holes. So yes, to me, as
you think we're having 50 million?
That's what it will cost to keep Kirk. So
but you think we don't have 50 million with the cap space going in next year without Kirk right now.
But I'm saying if you sign
without Kirk, we don't have 50 million.
Well, what I'm saying is if you sign Kirk, it's going to cost you 50.
Again, Justin, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just putting it out there that is a possibility. All
right, let me make it clear. Do you understand?
Come after me.
If you sign Kirk,
I don't know why.
50, if you sign Kirk for 50, that's 50 less million that you have to sign on other players. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Regardless of how much free cap they have, you're going to have 50 million more of it if you didn't sign Kirk back to it.
Justin,
that's all I'm saying.
You know the situation we got with the offensive line, right?
Yes, it's trash outside of the tackles.
Who was the number one draft pick or the number one quarterback taken overall this year?
I believe it's a guy named Bryce Young, if I recall correctly.
Who's starting for the Panthers this weekend?
Andy Dalton.
Why?
I have no idea because CJ Stroud is hurt, I guess. I'm just guessing.
I don't know, man. Quarterbacks get hurt.
What is your point? You've been talking about how Kirk's taking more hits and he might.
And he hasn't missed a game, man. You remember David Carr? Do you remember David Carr?
Help me understand where you're going with
David
Carr.
You're acting like you're acting like I was surprised that I wanted to extend Kirk 1 year.
I'm not surprised at all.
Right. You're trying to convince me that the fact that having someone sit behind a starting quarterback is probably a good idea.
Dave, that's what we said all off season. That's why I wanted to trade up and get Anthony Richardson. So why are you using my argument that I said this year was the year to get your quarterback to sit behind Kirk for 1 more year?
And we didn't get him, right?
Contract.
We didn't get him.
Yeah.
We didn't get Anthony Richardson, right?
No, we did not. We did not get.
So your fallback plan was to go into the season and start a rookie quarterback in 2024. That was your fallback plan. Is it? I don't know.
My fallback plan.
We didn't get Richardson's. Your fallback plan. What is it? It was to go into 2024 not having our former starting quarterback and going with the college kid, right?
A college kid or somebody.
Right. And I'll give you so many examples of a rookie quarterback that's getting their ass beat on their first year of the season.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China, though, Dave? That's what I'm not understanding right now. I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand where you're going with it. Yes, at some point you have to move on, and at some point you're going to have a different starting quarterback on the Minnesota Vikings other than Kirk Cousins. And guess what? There's inherent risk no matter who that may be, whether that's Jaron Hall or whether you draft somebody this year. There's going to be inherent risk of them being worse than Kirk.
Okay, what? No, yeah.
So what's your point? I'm aware of that. Yes,
you're trying to. I don't know what you're trying to convince me of.
I wasn't trying to. I said all I said was that you are in a catch-22 with Kirk Cousins. You cannot afford to keep him, and you cannot afford to get rid of him if you want to stay mediocre. That's all I said.
And you said that we wouldn't be able to field a competitive team next year, regardless either situation.
I'm saying.
So what does it matter?
Team is right now? What does it matter? Because I'd rather spend a year with a younger quarterback who's not making $50 million against the. Let me answer your question, Dave. Let me answer.
I really worry about the health of a rookie quarterback. I worry about how
you ask a question and you never let me answer. But you worry about the health of a rookie quarterback, okay? And I worry about the health of a 36-year-old quarterback playing behind a garbage offensive line who has had has had a magic carpet ride of never missing a game in his career. Guess what? Father Time is undefeated. At some point, Kirk Cousins is going to get knocked on his ass because of this garbage offensive line.
Let's hope.
Miss one.
Let's hope.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Now you're just kind of
come on, man.
Come on, man. What? I'm trying to answer your question that you posed to me.
This is the same situation. You're getting really defensive about me. I'm bringing up the fact that
you won't let me answer.
I'm bringing up the fact that is a possibility. I don't know why.
I never denied that as a possibility, Dave. Right. I don't know why you're trying to convince me. I never said it wasn't.
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
You said it 4 times now, and for the 4th time, I agree with you. It is a possibility.
All right.
Yes. Now, to answer your question, why would I rather go in direction B versus direction A? Direction A, signing a 36-year-old quarterback who I know, no matter what, has got a cap of mediocrity, versus going with a rookie quarterback where it's possible we might be even worse with that quarterback than we would have been with Kirk Cousins. We might be a 4 or 5 win team instead of a 7 or 8 win team in 2024. But I'd rather have the cheaper guy so that I can start fixing other areas of my roster because I have more money, and that I'm actually starting to develop a quarterback that I know may or may not be the answer. But I would like to find out if that new guy is the answer. I'm not finding out anything by signing Kirk Cousins for 1 more year. There's nothing to be discovered. The only thing you have with Kirk Cousins in 2024 is another middle of the road season. So yes, I'd rather take the chance on a younger guy and see what I got. And I'd rather take the chance of a younger guy to see what I got, because guess what? I'll have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, and I'll have more money to actually try to fix. Yes.
You guaranteed this.
In 2024, Justin Jefferson is under contract. So, yes, I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm talking about 2025. That's when the year.
Oh, now we're talking about 2025. I thought we were talking about one more year with Kirk.
No, see, I got 1 more year of Kirk at 2024. You realize that? 2024 is next year. This is 2023.
Yes.
I know you're trying to be sarcastic to me. I know you're trying to be sarcastic to me.
No, you've been saying 2024
is 1 year more of Kirk, right? It's just 1 more year of Kirk.
Yeah.
2025 would be the next year.
Yes.
I've advocated for drafting a quarterback. I was even on your train as of Richardson. It is just my opinion, much like there was a quarterback that won a couple Super Bowls already that sat behind a very experienced quarterback for 1 year, and now he's got 2 Super Bowls. I think it's probably a good idea not to throw a guy to the wolves his first year. We're not drafting number 1. We're probably not drafting number 2 or 3 or 4. We're not possibly going to get that guy everybody wants. We may not have a guy that's ready. And it is of my opinion, how feeble apparently it is, that if I have a rookie quarterback, I don't want to do what happened to David Carr. I don't want to happen to do with the other millions of quarterbacks that got their ass handed to them in their first year. And they just never recovered after that.
You're also assuming that Kirk's going to accept a 1-year extension, which is a whole nother.
No, I'm not assuming that. He may reject it.
Well, then why did we go?
What's the eye roll for? What's the eye roll for? You don't think I realized that Kirk rejected already a 1-year contract?
So then why did we go through this whole exercise about trying to keep Kirk for 1 more year?
They may do 2 years. Who knows?
And
that would break your heart, wouldn't it?
Why would you want to go through 2 more years of what we've already been through?
Dude.
And what happens 2 years after that? And you say, oh, this new guy's not ready. We have to draft another one. So we got to sign Kirk for another year so that guy can sit behind Kirk for another year.
Why is every college quarterback? I said, let's wait till 2024 to draft a quarterback because it was going to be deeper and we'd have more draft picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Now you switch back to drafting a quarterback in 2024.
I've always said to draft a quarterback, and I've always been
Richardson.
Let
me finish a sentence, you would actually know what I'm about to say to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. A moment ago, I thought you were talking about 24, and then you told me, oh, no, now I'm talking about 25.
Moving on to the younger quarterback. You know, there's a next year after 2024.
But if you have to sign Kirk to a 2-year extension, as you just pointed out, might be what is necessary, then what are you going to do in 2025 when you've drafted your quarterback in 2024 with the idea of starting him in 2025?
God,
but you had to sign Kirk for 2 years.
That has never happened before, and it's never been successful. Oh, wait, Green Bay.
What does that have to do with
twice?
Anything?
What does that have to do with anything? Nobody sat behind a quarterback for 2 years. Geez, Steve Young's in the freaking Hall of Fame right now. Again, that college quarterback could be freaking awesome.
If your guy is ready to go,
we got guys in the Hall of Fame that played in Canada. They played in Canada. And are in the Hall of Fame.
Again, I don't know where you're going with this. So you want to sign?
Where am I going with this? You're assuming that kid can't stay behind 1-2 years and still be good. He has
And
to
what
start.
that's not
has
what
to
I
start year
said at
one.
all, Dave. What
Then-
I said is that if your idea is to go younger at quarterback and rebuild this roster because it has been completely
I don't feel
mismanaged.
like starting a guy. I don't know who it is yet. I'll make that decision at the end of the year. Who I think is ready. I will. I would think I think maybe this guy's ready. This is a guy we could draft right now. And the college season's what, 4 or 5 weeks in. I don't know who that guy is yet. I'm not making a decision on Kirk Cousins, not knowing who I've evaluated yet. And that
Okay,
I think
the flaw in your
isn't that not a good move?
no,
Is to,
it's
hey, let
not.
me see who's
Not if
available.
it means you have to sign a quarterback to market value, which prohibits you from doing the rest of the things that need to be done on this roster.
We got like 200 million available in 2025. I want to get us to there without killing our rookie quarterback.
Yeah. Do you know how many players
do.
we don't? How many free agents we have this year? 34.
Oh,
You
we're
know
not
that.
going. Are we not going to be competitive in 2025 either?
I have no
come
idea.
on, man. You know we're
That's
going
not
to be
even what
better
we're
off in
talking about.
2025.
What?
It has been my plan all along that I thought the best idea was to start fresh with a new quarterback in 2025 after being behind Kirk for a year. And it's somehow, some reason, surprising to you right now. And I got a show in 4 minutes.
Well, he knows he's going to be late. He knows we were starting late, so that's fine. Go ahead. You were saying.
I already just said it's very surprising to you that I believe this stuff. I
am not surprised about anything you have said. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean I'm surprised by it.
I'm not trying to convince you. I don't know why you're trying to convince me.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything.
Why are you arguing with me, man?
All I said was there are two options. You extend Kirk or you move on from Kirk at the end of the 2023 season. All I said is that you are not going to be competitive in 24 in either scenario. So to me, I would rather start the process of finding out what I have with a younger guy, because guess what? I can start to rebuild the roster a lot easier with a cheap quarterback.
And I
think all I said.
And I think all I said was I think it would probably behoove us to make sure we fix that line, Reisner, extend him, whatever, draft somebody, have it prepared for 2025 when he takes over. And for some reason, that just raises your blood pressure. I don't get it. Why you get upset?
What raises my blood pressure is
roll the eyes and stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, man.
Dave, here's what you're missing.
I don't know why it upsets you that
It doesn't upset me. I didn't even want to spend the show talking about Kirk. I wanted to spend the show talking about Carolina, and I wanted to spend the show talking about, okay, if we get to 2-5, should we trade other players, which we touched on for about 30 seconds.
We talked about that.
And we spent the rest of this time discussing whether we should extend Kirk or not. And all I said is the same thing I've always said.
No, I brought up that might be an option. That's all, man.
Okay, we've always known that was an option. And I've always said, and my stance hasn't changed. My stance is, guess what? If you have Kirk Cousins, you have less money to spend. And yes, guess what? Instead of being a 4-win team with a rookie quarterback, you'll be a 7 or 8-win team with Kirk Cousins. Congratulations. Big deal. I don't care about that. I'd rather have the rookie growing pains. I get your point that it would behoove any quarterback to sit behind a veteran quarterback for a year before they started. That would be ideal, but not at the cost of having to pay market value for a quarterback who already has 10 million coming to the salary cap, regardless of what number you sent to him. Yeah, if Kirk Cousins says, I'll take a $20 million 1-year deal and my salary cap number will then be 30, sure, go ahead and sign for that. We all know that that's not going to happen. We all know he's not taking any less money than Daniel Jones at 40, and we all know he's not going to sign for 1 year. He offered a discount, and the Vikings said, we only want you for 1 more year, and that didn't happen. Why in the world is he going to say yes to that in the first place? So again, you're right. I'm coming at you to say this is a ridiculous thought process because he's not going to accept a 1-year deal. I don't think, but that's just me. I could be wrong.
My thought process is ridiculous.
I'm saying it's ridiculous to think that you can just get Kirk for 1 more year. I don't think that that's possible. Number one.
I was to tell you,
number two is even if you could get Kirk for 1 year.
You went on a monologue for 10 minutes there. Can I?
Okay, you asked me a question and then I tried to finish it, but fine, go ahead.
Some questions are often rhetorical, man. So my thought process is ridiculous. I get it. You may not have meant that. If I was to tell you that making the decision right now to get rid of Kirk to draft a quarterback that you don't know who his name is yet is a ridiculous decision. How would that make how would you take that?
I would say you have a point that there are inherent flaws to taking quarterback X over the known quantity of quarterback Kirk Cousins. And what I'm saying is the inherent flaws of signing Kirk Cousins, who is going to cost me a $50 million cap hit, doesn't outweigh the inherent unknowns of the other side of it. I would rather take the unknown and start the process and use the extra money to rebuild the team so that the team can be rebuilt faster. Because guess what? It is easier to rebuild a team when you have more money. Does that mean it's a guarantee? Absolutely not. Does that mean that you're wrong to say that a rookie quarterback would it would be beneficial for them to sit for a year? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that those extra benefits are not worth the $50 million it's going to cost me to keep Kirk next year. That's what I am saying.
All right. And but it's okay to when you brought that point, and the fact that you said to me that it is a guarantee that we will be terrible next year and not competitive.
Yeah, okay.
But it is a guarantee. But that isn't a guarantee, and it's okay. It's not. But if we kept Kirk, it would be terrible. That's a guarantee.
Yes.
See where I'm coming from? I don't think.
Fine. I will restate my statement then.
I'm sorry. I thought I was talking. Okay,
I'll
go ahead.
restate it
I'll
when
let you
you're done.
go ahead.
When you're done,
you're often telling me I interrupt you, so go ahead.
Well, that the next time will be the second, but that's fine. I will restate what I'm saying. I'm saying with everything that I have seen over the last 5+ seasons, that signing Kirk next year puts us in the same spot that we have always been in, which is a middling team. That's the guarantee. Is that we'd be a middling team? Yes,
guaranteed.
Whether
but
that's
you're guaranteeing
whatever
that
definition of
rookie,
competitive you want.
You're not guaranteeing that the college quarterback's going to be ready to start, and then I don't know when. When is he going to be good? I don't know. That's all I'm saying, man. Just keep an open mind. That's
I
all
have
I'm
an
asking.
open mind. My mind is very well open, and
guaranteeing anything is not an open mind. But I'm just gonna. I don't know. We're never gonna agree on it. But I don't know why. It's a guarantee that my idea sucks, and it's not necessarily a guarantee, but your idea is going to be more effective. I don't know.
I didn't say it would be more effective, Dave. That's where you're twisting.
Hey, you know what,
crap.
Justin? We both wanted the same thing, to move on to a quarterback that's younger and it's going to be 10, 15-year quarterback. I'm just a year apart from you, and I don't know why.
And next year you'll say the same thing.
No, I'm sorry. How long have we known each other?
You said this last year. You said this. I'm sorry.
That I wanted to keep him through 2024. Right?
And what? No.
Right?
You said you wanted to extend Kirk for 2 more. Originally, you said 2 more years.
I wanted to have him for.
Here's my last point. I know Rap's waiting for you. Here's what I'm saying. It is not a guarantee that the Vikings will be a middling team if they sign Kirk Cousins again in the year 2024. You're right. It's not a guarantee. It is the most likely scenario based on all the evidence that we have. What I am saying is that, yes, a rookie quarterback, we might be worse. And I don't mind being worse because I'm sick of being in the middle. I will take my chances. And if we're worse for 1 year or even 2, but there's a possibility that we get better than middling, sure, I am willing to give up 1 more middling year of Kirk. And let me be clear, this isn't even about Kirk. It's about any 35-year-old good, not great quarterback at market value. So I'm not going to say he's
all details that are exactly Kirk.
Say what?
Again. So all the details that are exactly
I'd be saying, if I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'd be saying we need to move off Dak Prescott. I've seen enough. We know for the most part, we have a very good indication that his glass ceiling, like Kirk's, is the divisional round of the playoffs. If I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'd be saying the same thing. I don't want to pay Dak Prescott market value anymore.
I really hope we turn the season around, man.
Well, so do I. I'm not holding my breath.
I want us to beat Carolina.
Yeah.
I do. And I know you do too. And when it's a Packer game, I'm not yelling "Go Pack Go," and I don't think you are either.
No, there's no scenario on the planet where I would ever.
Game 18, playing the Lions. 0-17. I'm rooting for us to win that game, man.
Well, there's one scenario where we don't.
No, man. Every
Yeah.
time. Now I can see coaches playing, and like last
No,
year,
no,
I was
no, no,
saying,
no.
hey, play multiple players, play players, play your backup quarterback. But I still want those guys to win, man.
No, here's the deal, Dave. Here's where I was going with that. If we're playing the Lions in week 18 and a Lions victory means they win the division and Green Bay is out of the playoffs, but if we win, that means Green Bay's in the playoffs, we cheering for the Lions. Sorry.
to beat us. No,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, we're
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You can
One
do that.
game does not mean anything if it means the
Oh,
joy
man,
of keeping the
I
Packers
just-
out of the playoffs is better. In
I
my
hope
opinion.
the Vikings lose has never left my lips, except for to say
I wouldn't say I
Vikings
hope they
never left
lose.
my
I would
lips.
just be more. I would be happier. I would be happier that the
Are you
Packers
saying you would
stay home.
accept the results of it?
I would say, yeah, I'm saying that I would not be disappointed if
I
we
would
lost
not
the
be
game
like,
that-
oh my God,
I would not be pissed
I
off
can't
if we
believe
lost
we
the game that
won,
kept the
or I
Packers
can't
out of the playoffs. I'm glad we agree on something at the end here. All right, in all seriousness, everybody, hit those like buttons. I'm sorry that we did not get very much back to the chat. I know there's all kinds of people
I
in here
know,
that we didn't
my
shout
fault.
out here tonight. I know Rap was in there, Sarah was in there, Joey Hockey is in there, in the Zone podcast. Yeah, there's a few of those. All right, enough's enough. Kofi, good comments there tonight. Mick is in the building. What's going on, Mick? Andrew K. Yeah, Andrew K agrees with me. Kirk will not sign a 1-year deal. Zoe's in the pot. Lamont, what's going on? Sodak, what's going on? If we didn't get to you, I apologize. And again, at least Andrew says it was an entertaining episode. I'm glad you guys found it entertaining. But in all seriousness, hit those like buttons on the way out. Go to the other channel and hit the like buttons on the way out. And if you don't already subscribe to Minnesota Sports Talk, hit that subscribe button. If you don't already subscribe to Purple and Gold for Days, hit that subscribe button there as well. Dave, I'll let you have the last words. Anything else you got?
Go Vikings, beat the Panthers, man.
Till the next episode. Go on over to Purple and Skull Media, ladies and gentlemen, where Dave will have fun with rap.